All right, so you're thinking about a career in renewable energy consulting. That's awesome. And smart, too, with how important sustainability is becoming.
Yeah, it's definitely a growing field.
For sure. You've been checking out RoleCatcher, right?
Yeah, they have some really interesting stuff.
They do. It's like a gold mine of info on this career path. So let's deep dive into it, see what they have to say. First things first, what does a renewable energy consultant actually do? It's got to be more than just saying, hey, go green.
Oh, way more. RoleCatcher gets into the nitty-gritty. Like a typical day could be anything from analyzing how a company uses energy to figuring out the best places for solar panels on a building.
Sounds like being an energy detective. You're looking at the data, figuring out how to make things more sustainable. But where does all this detective work happen? Is it all spreadsheets and offices, or are we talking about, like, getting out in the field?
Oh, get ready for some amazing views.
Uh,
One minute you might be at your desk, the next you could be on a windswept hill scouting for a wind farm.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
RoleCatcher even mentioned offshore wind farms. Can you imagine working out at sea with those massive turbines?
Wow, that's definitely not your average 9 to 5.
Right.
Talk about an office with a view. Okay, but let's be real. Every job has its, ups and downs.
For sure.
What does RoleCatcher say about the pros and cons of being a renewable energy consultant?
Well, the pros definitely tap into wanting a job with impact.
Yeah.
It's a booming field, which is always a good sign, high demand. But even better, you're helping to build a more sustainable future.
Okay, so you're saving the planet. Awesome. But what about the not so glamorous side? What's RoleCatcher say about that?
Yeah, so they are upfront about the challenges. Like, competition can be fierce. You need to really know your stuff when it comes to renewable energy tech, policies, regulations. Plus, it's project-based, so you're dealing with deadlines, budgets, and, sometimes Mother Nature herself can be unpredictable.
So breathtaking views and saving the planet sounds pretty good so far. But let's talk about you. Does this career path actually, match up with your skills? Or is it, some serious upskilling needed?
Yeah, that's where RoleCatcher's insights are really helpful.
Okay, what do they say?
So they break down the skills,
Right.
right? And you might be surprised by what they emphasize.
Okay.
Of course, knowing the technical stuff is important. But RoleCatcher highlights something they call, get this, power skills.
Power skills.
Power skills. As being, equally crucial.
Okay, that sounds intense. What are we talking about here? Superhuman energy manipulation.
Uh-huh. Not quite.
Okay.
More like communication, active listening, being able to explain complex ideas clearly.
I see.
Those are essential, they say, for working with clients, securing funding, advocating for sustainable solutions.
Makes sense. It's one thing to, know your stuff, but it's another to actually convince other people to get on board with your vision. So it's kind of that balance of, brains and charisma.
Absolutely.
What about education? Do you absolutely need a specialized degree to get your foot in the door?
So RoleCatcher suggests that, a bachelor's degree in a related field is pretty common as a starting point. So things like environmental science, engineering, sustainable development, those sorts of things. But here's the exciting part. They say that relevant experience and certifications can be real game changers. They even have this cool feature where you can map your existing skills to potential career paths.
That's super helpful. So you're not necessarily locked into one specific academic path.
Right.
Okay, let's get a feel for what career progression in this field actually looks like. RoleCatcher uses these awesome real-life examples to kind of show that journey from, newbie consultant to seasoned pro.
Yeah, and it really does make it easy to visualize yourself, like climbing the ladder. So starting out, you might be doing a lot of data collection, energy audits, supporting senior consultants on projects, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
As you get more experience, you take on more responsibility. Maybe you're leading your own projects.
Speaking of energy audits, for those of us who aren't, energy detectives yet, what does that even mean? What does that entail?
Oh, that's a great question. So imagine you're going into a building like a detective, but you're looking for energy inefficiencies.
Okay.
You're checking the insulation, lighting, HVAC systems, the whole shebang. And then you analyze all that data, and you recommend ways to reduce energy waste and implement renewable energy solutions.
Wow. So you're part investigator, part doctor, part superhero.
Pretty much.
So what about, when you reach the peak of the mountain, becoming a senior consultant? What's that like?
Oh, at that level, you're the expert that everyone's turning to, right?
Yeah.
You're leading large-scale projects, advising top executives. Maybe you're even influencing policy changes.
That's amazing.
You've got years of experience under your belt, and you're using it to make a real impact.
And probably commanding a salary that, reflects that impact as well.
Yeah, potentially.
But jokes aside, I love how RoleCatcher, they connect the dots between your skills and like actual career growth.
Yeah.
You can clearly see how developing certain skills can open doors to those senior roles.
Absolutely. It really emphasizes that learning and growing in this field never really stops. Which brings us to a crucial aspect of any career journey: standing out from the crowd.
Right, because it is competitive out there, and RoleCatcher has some really like intriguing ideas about how to do just that. And trust me, it's not just the same old, network and polish your resume advice. So we've covered the what and the why of renewable energy consulting, but now it's like, okay, how do you actually land a job in this field? And it is competitive, right?
Oh, yeah.
RoleCatcher has some like refreshingly bold ideas about standing out. And trust me, it's not just the same old network, polish your resume advice.
Right, it's way more strategic. It's about showcasing your skills, but like in a way that really grabs attention.
Okay, and they have a very specific way of doing that, right?
They are big proponents of building a portfolio, but not just, a list of your past jobs. It's got to be a showcase of your expertise.
So what does that look like? Give me an example.
Okay, so think in-depth case studies, research projects, maybe even presentations that you've given on renewable energy topics.
So instead of just saying, I'm a great communicator, you would have a case study showing how your communication skills actually helped a company switch over to, like, solar energy.
Exactly. It's showing, not just telling.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, imagine you're a hiring manager and you've got this stack of resumes. Are you going to be more impressed by a generic list of skills, or by someone who can actually point to real examples of their work?
Oh, for sure. The real example seeing is believing, right?
Exactly.
It's like the difference between saying you can bake and actually like presenting someone with this delicious cake that you made.
100%. And RoleCatcher actually takes it a step further. Their platform, it helps you connect those real-world examples directly to your skills.
Yeah.
So you're creating this dynamic profile that really resonates with potential employers.
Okay, so it's like this highlight reel of your renewable energy achievements, all neatly packaged, ready to impress. But here's what I thought was interesting. They don't just focus on like landing the job, they're thinking long term, which I love.
Absolutely. They emphasize building a skill set that's adaptable, one that will actually serve you throughout your whole career, not just for your first job.
Oh, I like that.
So it's about constantly learning, growing, and evolving alongside the industry.
So it's not about checking boxes, it's about becoming like a valuable asset
Yes.
in this field that's constantly changing. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that brings us to like a final thought-provoking question for you. What unique skills can you actually bring to the table in this really dynamic field? And, how will you continue to actually hone those skills, adapt them to make a lasting impact?
Ooh, such a good question. I love that. So that's something to really think about. And hey, whether you're just starting out or you're thinking about like a career shift, platforms like RoleCatcher can be so helpful, just giving you that guidance and those resources.
For sure.
Good luck with your search. And remember, the future is powered by those who dare to make a difference.